Hello guys, today we'll be taking a closer look at how the iPad Pro 2020 performs in games. Now I'm sure most of you did not buy the new $1,000 iPad just for gaming, but it is still nice to know what this machine is capable of. As stated in the previous review video, this thing is a beast with 6GB of RAM and 8 GPU cores with a 120Hz ProMotion display. And I am expecting extraordinary performance from this device as it scored the highest out of any mobile device in the world in Antutu benchmark. Specs aside, let's move on to the gameplay. Keep in mind that this video was rendered in 60 frames per second, so I only use this as a guide. Also, all these games are free to download and I will include timestamps for all games in the description. To kick it off, Fortnite and at medium settings at 120 FPS and 100% resolution with no frame drops, beside the occasional lag spike when jumping out of the battle bus. Keep in mind that automatic resolution is recommended as it is much sharper. This device can run up to epic settings at 30 FPS or high graphics at 60 FPS. I think the iPad Pro could handle at least epic settings at 60 FPS with the 6GB of RAM, but Epic Games have not implemented the support just yet. In high intensity situations, it still maintains a consistent frame rate, so you do not have to worry about dropped frames. If you are playing away from a charger, turning on the low power mode can save battery. This did not result in any significantly dropped frames in my observation. This game comes with controller support. In Call of Duty Mobile, it can run at the highest settings with 60 FPS, as the developers have not added 120 FPS support. The 2020 iPad Pro can run max settings with bloom, ragdoll, depth of field, and more. This game comes with controller support as well.
Enemy in sight!
Drone deployed. XS-1 Goliath is ready.
In PUBG Mobile, only the Chinese version of this game supports 120 FPS. However, low performing Androids can run this game at 120 FPS constantly, so the iPad Pro 2020 will be able to run it even better once support for high refresh rate is available. For now, it is stuck at HDR and 60 FPS. Ark Survival Evolved can run up to epic graphics, 100% 3D resolution, and 30 FPS. It does not drop any frames, although it is a disappointment that this game is capped to 30 FPS. Now finally, we get to see another game perform at 120 FPS. This game is Critical Ops. It is an esports first-person shooter similar to Counter-Strike. The frame rate can go from 30 all the way up to 120 FPS. There is an FPS counter in the top right, and this iPad barely drops any frames. Asphalt 9 has 30 FPS and 60 FPS, however, it does not have individual graphical settings. It ran very smoothly and was detailed in the action camera view. In crash scenes, the game did not have any hiccups. This game also supports controller. The next game is Gods of Boom, which ran smoothly at 60 FPS as well, due to it being a game with a low polygon count. Shadowgun Legends can run on the maximum ultra high details with 60 FPS. I experienced some stuttering due to the game having very high details, however, it didn't affect gameplay too much for it to be unplayable. Sky, Children of Light is one of the most beautiful games on the App Store. With the iPad Pro 2020, you can choose from having the game run on native resolution, which looks very sharp, but the gameplay is capped to 30 FPS. Another option you have is to turn down the resolution but have it run on 60 FPS, which to me is a better experience overall. The aspect ratio can also be changed from the native 4:3 ratio to a much wider 16:9 ratio. Now on to another battle royale, Rules of Survival. Graphics can be turned to excellent with Ultra FPS and shadows, although it is hard capped at 60 FPS. There is also a power saving mode. I experienced no noticeable drop frames as seen by this gameplay. Another 120 FPS game being tested is World of Tanks. A ton of settings could be changed from shadow quality all the way to anti-aliasing, in which all settings could be run maxed out even with the 120 FPS option enabled. HD textures was also applied. The game ran very smoothly and did not have any stuttering. There is an FPS counter at the bottom right, just for your reference. The last game we'll be testing in this video is Torque Drift. This game can be intensive when the smoke amount and tire mark distance is maxed out as it eats into your device's RAM. However, to my surprise, it ran very nicely even with the view distance and resolution maxed out. Load times were also kept at a minimum. However, take that with a grain of salt as my internet could affect it as well. Overall, in my opinion, the 2020 iPad Pro is one of the best mobile devices for gaming due to the fast 120Hz screen and 6GB of RAM. It also has the fastest mobile processor, which can run everything perfectly. Thank you for watching, and please make sure to subscribe and like as it helps my channel out a lot. Stay tuned for more videos. Peace.